All right, I'm back with another one. Let's see. Okay, we're going to talk about this one is a little was a an interesting encounter with somebody. So we're at the field, we're at the dome, and I'm sitting on the side just by the bench, making phone calls, doing what I do. The players are out practicing, they're doing their thing, and I noticed some people in suits walking around. Like, I thought they were Secret Service right off the bat. I was like, that's weird. Why is Secret Service here? And because I had worked with them before with Clinton, and we see them enough on movies, and anytime and you can see them over there writing stuff and checking things and looking at, the dome's layout. And you could tell they were surveying. And I was just watching the one guy, and he's just looking, and he's asking. I guess it was a translator they had for him, asking him to find out questions. And now they've kind of migrated more towards where I was sitting, and I could hear him say, "Hey, ask him this or ask him that," and the translator would go and come back. And the translator's English wasn't great. You could tell it wasn't, he was nervous or something. So I kind of stand up and I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And the guy looked at me. He's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Good, good." And he just, he's doing his job. So I was like, just if it helps in any way, if you have any questions, I'm here every day. I might be able to answer anything you have. So if you need, just let me know. I'll help if I can. And he was like, "Oh, okay, thanks," and kind of let it go at that. And I sit back down, and I'm on my phone, and I think I have my laptop. I was probably working on something. Translator comes back and says something, but he didn't get the answer he wanted or something like that. So the guy said, "Excuse me, sir, can I talk to you for a second? Is it okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." He's like, "So when people, like, who's allowed to come on the field at what times, and how many people are allowed at once, or what is the system here?" And I was like, "Well, usually you have your media, you have your reporters and your magazines, and those people are always here like almost every day. And I'd say that's a good 30, 40, 50 people, depending on who they're playing against. If they're playing against a well-known team, then the media is much larger. If it's, not such a popular team, then the media is just the Giants side rather than both teams side." And I was like, it just depends on the team, but I'd say anywhere from 30 to 50 people. Plus, if the players have family coming, friends coming, the kids want to come, then they have the kids, their family passes, they'll get them. Like me, I represent one of the players or a couple of them, but, they give me a pass. Friends and families, that's it changes daily depending on who's going to come visit. Weekdays, it's not so many. Weekends, it's more because the kids are off. They want to bring their son and his friends. I said, then they have the fan club. I think they do a 2 or 3 little, like, 20 people tours where they bring 20 people, fan club members, into the field right there. They let them watch some practice, take them back, bring another 20. I said, so there's, 60 people right there. And he's like, okay, yeah. And he's writing all this down. And then his translator guy comes up, and his first thing he says to me is, "Who are you, and what do you want?" He's like, "Who are you? What do you want?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" And the guy kind of looked at him, and I was like, "Okay, look, I'm gonna free lesson right here. You don't walk up to somebody and ask them that. That's just extremely rude. Even in Japanese, that's rude. You wouldn't walk up and just say that." And I said it in Japanese. And he kind of looks at me, and because I spoke Japanese to him. And the Secret Service guy was like, "He's right. That was rude. I asked him for help. You kind of just embarrassed me right there. So mind your business when." So the guy was like, "Well, I'm sorry." I said, "It's just say hello. My name is so and so. Ask. Don't just attack me." So I was like, "It's no big deal." So the guy's like, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "No, it's okay." But even in Japanese culture, that was rude. That's not. You would never say that in Japanese. He's just forgetting his roots because he thinks that he's in a position of power. Translator for you guys or whatever job he does. So he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I was like, yeah, no problem. So he's like, so who are you? I mean, if you don't mind me asking. So you said you represent, or you're here. I say, I'm a personal manager for these players and this guy. I'm just here to help out when they need me. I'm here. I help translations. I help with anything they need. He was like, oh wow, that's an interesting job. I was like, so I know you're probably more or less Secret Service or some kind of security team or something. He's like, oh wow, good call. He's like, yeah. I'm so and so Secret Service, whatever. I was like, okay, where are you from? He's Hawaii, and I'm thinking, Hawaii Secret Service, Obama's coming. That's the first thing popped in my mind, Obama. And I didn't want to ask too many questions because then they start to concern. I was like, well, if you need anything else, I'm right here. Let me know. So he walks around, he talks to some people. I see his other team members coming back, and they're reporting. And so he's kind of leaving, and he was like, "Hey, thanks again for the help." And I was like, "Yeah, no problem, no problem. I'm sure I'll see you soon." He's like, "Yeah, you'll see me soon. Just, you'll see me soon." And he kind of just smiled. I was like, "All right, I'm looking forward to seeing you next time." And he just like, "Okay," and he walked out. And really nice guy. So Kroon comes back from practice, and I was like, "Dude, I think Obama's coming." He was like, "Don't be stupid. There's no way Obama's coming here." I said, "Look, the amount of Secret Service they had, the thoroughness of what they were doing, somebody here is coming. Somebody important's coming." And he's from Hawaii, so it might be Obama. And I was like, "There's no way Obama's coming." I wish I was right. But so a week, 2 weeks later, we come to the field, and there's Secret Service everywhere. There's security checks. There's, when we're coming in, there's just like, "Whoa, who's coming?" And they're like, Mr. Bush is coming. President Bush is coming. And so I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, that made sense." And I was half right. It was a president. So we go in, and Kroon's doing his thing, getting ready. I'm out there in the Secret Service. The guy comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, thanks for the help the other day. We're here. I don't know if you heard yet, but the President Bush will be here, shortly, and so we're gonna have him here, and we're gonna do this." And he tried to give me. He's like, "So, where do you think is a good place to keep, where people aren't gonna?" And I'm just like, "Well, usually this place is really crowded. I would keep them in this area and stuff." So we're talking, and then the Bush comes. Bush comes, and he comes in, and when he comes in, I'm talking to the Secret Service guy, and he comes just straight up to me. He's like, "Oh, hey, nice to meet you. What are you doing here? You're American, right?" And he's just talking to me. And now this is the second president I've met. And he goes into the room, and then they're bringing the manager of the team and some people to meet him, to greet him for, "Thank you for coming," type thing. And I was like, I was talking to the manager. He just went in the room. I said, "Oh, by the way," because they were like, "Mr. Bush," or "Sir," or something. They were saying, I said, no, you want to address him as Mr. President. He still owns the title of Mr. President, just not an active president. So they were like, "Really?" I said, yeah, he's still Mr. President. You would call him Mr. President. So I called the Secret Service. I asked him, "Hey, sorry, when they address Mr. Bush, they should address him as Mr. President, right?" And he was like, yeah, of course. Always address him as Mr. President. And so they were like, "Okay." So they go in, and they do the talk, and the Secret Service guy comes up to me, and he was like, "Good call. I mean, most people don't catch it, but that was a good call." I was like, "Oh, I don't want him to be embarrassed or disrespectful or anything." So Mr. President, or Mr. Bush, comes out of the thing, and he's like, "Oh," and he starts talking to me and asking me where I'm from, why I'm in Japan and stuff like that. Some Japanese players come out to get a picture with him, so they were like, "Can we get a picture with you?" And he was like, Of course. And he was like, "Bachi, get in the picture." Now, honestly speaking, because of going to, the golf and everything, I just didn't want a picture. I mean, I'll post the picture that I took, because I played as the cameraman, because I just didn't want a picture. No disrespect to anybody, or, Bush supporters or something. I just didn't want a picture. I just didn't care to get a picture with him. So I was like, "Oh, no, it's okay, sir. Mr. President, I'll take the picture. It's totally fine." And he was like, "You sure?" I was like, yeah. Not a problem. So I take the picture, and they go do their thing, and we go back inside, and I have the picture, but I was not in the picture. But yeah, that was the second president I met. And he was actually a very nice guy. So that's the meeting, Mr. President, Mr. Bush's story. So hope you enjoyed.